whatever milestones that Black people make against hate, it ends up benefiting all the other people of color. I can't see what his end game is. The Republican Party is the party of racism, is the party of white supremacy, is the party of hate. This is wrong, and it needs to stop.
Everybody wants to go back and drag that piece of history up, but they don't want to go back and deal with what their ancestors did to the indigenous people and to Black people in this country. You got to go. And you got billionaires talking about going to space and Jeff Bezos. Go! Never come back. I hope you get lost. This man has lost his mind.
Boom! Come on, girlfriend. What is up, everybody? It's Dr. Vibe here, host and producer of the award-winning Dr. Vibe Show, the home of Epic Conversations, and I'm the host of Epic Conversations, 2020 Best Podcast News Award winner, 2018 Innovation Award winner given out by the Canadian Ethnic Media Association, and I co-host and co-produce the only online show in the world for dads and fathers that is sponsored by Dove Men Plus Care, and through that collaboration last year, part of a team that reached out directly and indirectly to over 100,000 fathers around the world. And as always, I'd like to say you're blessed, highly favored, a magnet for miracles, and a solution for someone's problem. We're broadcasting live on August 21st. Summer is winding down. I'm based here in Toronto, Canada. School hasn't started yet, but I know in parts of the United States, school has started. And that's where the stars are tonight. I'm just fodder. The stars are up, and it's called State of Things with Aisha and Jill, and also our special friend, Laura Lalaki. What's going on, ladies? What's cracking? What's firing?
I think the question is, what's not?
Right. Exactly. Yikes.
Well, I tell you, it's nonstop. And Aisha, your mic is on mute, so I don't know. Let's see.
Oh yeah, that's because you left it on during the promo, so I hit it.
No. I tried to turn it off. You were hard on me now. Easy.
And we can see her lovely face this week.
Yes. Unlike she was shouting us last week, but everything good. What's been going on? What's been going on, ladies? How's things been?
Good,
just enjoying this summer nor'easter that I keep reading about in Fox News. That's like not happening.
I know. I wanted to gosh.
It's like, are you serious? Like a summer nor'easter, it's gonna rain like it snows, and it's like one day it rained for like an hour. That was it, and then the next day it rained for like maybe 2 hours, and it was like almost as dry. It dried up almost as quickly as it came, and I'm still waiting for the nor'easter. I'm like, again, that damn
I think we got it down here in Florida. It was bad.
But a true nor'easter, there's no such thing as a summer nor'easter because it's a specific winter storm. That's the part that got me. It was like there was no snow.
But people on Fox are just stupid, even the weather people. That shows you how dumb they are. They're just dumb-dumbs. Dumb.
Yeah, I was like, what happened? And they got it. You know, the way that they do these things, they got it such that it's like trending all week. And I keep looking out all week. I'm like, no, another sunny day. It's sunny.
Wow.
Just to terrorize people.
Yeah.
Let's shout out some friends and family. Tila says, how dare y'all look so great on my big screen.
She's supposed to take a picture of us on that screen, right?
I think, did she send it to me? You know what, Tila, can you do it again? I think you may have sent me one, but I don't know so if you can take another one, we'd love that. And Will Key says, hey, Will Key.
That's my honey bunny.
I know.
Okay.
The same day.
Right. All right. And Green Eyed Little Baby says, hello. How you doing? So,
is that
Will? I haven't seen Jen yet, but Will, you you've leveled your life up with Lala.
Yeah.
Lala's a level up in Will's life. I'm going to speak for you there. And if you get mad at me, I'm in Toronto, so come after me, all right? Come get me. Okay, Lala, what is the Sunday shirt? What's the Sunday shirt today?
Is a good day to have a good day.
Nice.
Because that is what you make it. You can walk around and be mad and angry all day, or you can decide to make it a good day and make it a good day for somebody else.
That's true. Not
Love
bad.
Wig Maniacs, hello, Wig Maniac. Wig Maniac, thank you for retweeting the post last week. I very much appreciate it. And Tila says, yes, I'll take another and send it to you, Dr. Vibe, before the end of the show. Yes, please, and thank you. So let's get at it, family. Another calm week. Like we were going back channeling stories like left, right, especially today. And like there's some things we're leaving off. Oh, look, Green Eye Little Baby says, we'll raid you. We ain't letting you cross the border. Sorry.
That's
We ain't letting you, which is actually a little funny story. I did actually take a trip to the States about 2 months ago to Cleveland. And funny thing is, yes, and the funny thing is when I was going across the border, they asked for my COVID proof of taking a COVID shot. Try to bring it up on my phone. They block the internet at the border.
What?
Oh, do they?
So well, I couldn't access it. My internet on my I couldn't access my data plan or anything.
Wow.
So all of us had to go into a separate place and wait and show our stuff. So
you know what's not to change, but they've been doing some weird stuff at the border. A friend of mine flew in from Germany with his daughter. And if I told you how invasive they were about asking how much money he had in the bank, where let's see your bank account, which he had to show them his bank account. How long are you staying? Is this your real daughter?
This is going into a comedy show. You should be. I hope you're looking at the comments. They're comedy shit.
So offensive. What's going on? And I don't think they're telling us everybody what the hell is what they're doing.
I know that. So Will says, I love you, Will, already. And you know this? Leveled up. All right. Leveled up. And Green Eyed says, I'm from Florida. You can't keep me out.
No, those are the ones, the Floridians are the ones that you kind of want to look. As far as I'm concerned, if we could just take if there was a long enough knife to cut off that swath of the country.
And Texas.
Florida, from Florida through
Just
Texas.
Let me get out first.
Yeah, I was going to say that about let Lala get out first.
Yeah.
Get out first. Get out.
We'll make the announcement, but cut it
Sell
out
all your stuff, pack your belongings, and get the hell out, y'all.
But just cut it off and let it free float in the ocean.
Yeah. But don't worry, it's going to sink anyway.
They'd be happy.
But joking aside now, Jill, I've been reading some reports lately that California is in a little bit it's not a safe land place out there. Like they're saying it's gonna, I don't know.
It's really not. There are a ton. Being in real estate, I get the reports of where all the fault lines are. Every deal I do, I have to get a natural hazards report. And it's not very safe. And the thing is, we haven't had a really, really bad one there since
Northridge,
the 90s.
Yeah.
So it's coming. And even while we were there for 13 years and I only felt one rolling.
Right.
And it's long overdue.
Last year, there was a really bad one that was kind of messed up. But don't forget, though, the worst fault line in America is not the San Andreas, though. It's smack dab in the middle of Oklahoma and Texas, and it runs all the way up the middle. And if we look at I think there were a few prophecies about that one being a big one.
Mm-hmm.
That if that one snaps.
All right. Let's get to it.
Supposed to be apocalyptic.
All the family's here for us to talk politics.
Yes.
So let's stop. So just a few more hellos. Bush Boogie, You're new. How about, all right. Cinema Canella, hello. Green-Eyed says, LOL, I'm a sister. And Green-Eyed also says, don't cut me out, LOL. We won't do that. All right, family, let's get it, because you want to hear the ladies' takes on some things that are go on, as we say. So first conversation piece. Yes, Mick Mulvaney says he saw 45 ripped documents in half.
I'm over these people.
I know.
Let me tell you,
like, why are they on TV?
And why didn't you say something when you saw it? You know, this hindsight.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, I'm over the hindsight stuff. All so this, true. Oh, we did, but now we need it. No, where were you when it was happening? Yeah. You know, you're just as guilty. You saw it. You didn't report it. You thought you were in a safe place. And now that you're feeling like, oh, things are shaking, you're going to say something. No, right. I hold you accountable.
Right.
That's self-preservation. It's self-preservation at this point. He's saying it because guess what? The FBI called him. He's saying it. All these people are saying things because they got the phone call, the warrant, the subpoena, whatever, but they know they're going to have to come in and testify about something that has to do with these papers and how he took things from the White House that he wasn't supposed to take. There's going to be a lot of them just lining up to run their mouth. It's something worth paying a little bit of attention to, because the drip, drip, drip of the truth is going to come like that, not the floodgate that we all wish it would. And it's only going to come out because people have this vested interest in staying out of jail.
What I don't like is that the people who are allowing these people to be on their shows are taking no direct stance without any integrity, and they're not even challenging them on what they're accountable for as well, and how much they contributed to this environment. You know, because Trump wasn't working in a silo; he had many, many people enabling and helping to foster this cancer and to, continue with the malignancy that was going on. So I really take issue with only one that I've seen really go to task with people that have since come forward like, well, I don't know, I tried to say, has been Ari Melber. But the other ones, they just said, they're like, well, what do you think happened? Like this DeWitt woman, nitwit on the Saturday weekends and whatever. But I can't believe, with all integrity, or even just anybody who's having a show and bringing somebody on, how could you sit there and just allow it to go on? Like, what kind of a nut job are you to just sit there and go as if it's just the status quo, right? I'd have to be like, yo, what you didn't help Mick or whatever your name is, Yeah.
And I got to agree with Jill on the fact that this yellow journalism that's going around, where everyone, it makes me really disgusted with my field, because it's like, hey, where are the questions that get to the heart of what's going on? Ask the right questions. Stop with these softballing things. I miss Tim Russer. He would ask those complicated questions. It's like CNN. We had this back conversation about how CNN is really moving in this center-right direction. So because they think it's being fair and balanced. There's no such thing as being objective, really, in the news when there is one side that is trying to kill people. Yeah. There's no objectivity. Not only when one side is trying to kill people, when they are on camera doing it for a whole day long. Yeah. Objectivity out the window. We're talking about people's lives and protecting people. Not only did these people do this January 6th thing, guess what? Those same trying to get in your state houses. They're trying to get into Congress. You can't softball the questions. You can't treat them like regular candidates, because they're not regular candidates. They're insane. They are crazy people. They want to do harm. They want to control. They want complete and total and utter white supremacy in this country that is browning, and they are stopping at nothing to get it.
Because they're like keeping them alive when we'd already thrown them and they had become toast. They're like this is like toast. Have you ever had toast the second day? I mean, it's like, ugh, like that's what all this is to me. These are toast and they are actually putting them back on the burner and warming and heating this up again. And I'm like, no, this dude, Mick Mulvaney and all of them, they're done to me. We don't need to, they should be coming into an electric chair, sitting down and get shocked every single time they lie again.
Exactly.
Like, so and journalists, I'm sorry, it's not just these people too, these journalists.
Absolutely. Yes.
Books. If you had the information, why did you withhold it for us until you publish a book when we could do something, release that information, when we could do something about it by voting people out? Don't hold it until after the thing that you want to happen. So your book has a crescendo happens.
Thank you.
And then be like, oh, well, here's the warning now. Too late for us to do anything.
I know it. Way past due. You know how long it takes to write them books? Are you kidding me?
It does take a while.
All this information?
Trust me,
I tell you, I have literary clients. It took Alan Leeds 1 full year from the time we did the contract to the release of the book. Okay, wow. So
and it's taking me 6.
I may never get it done. This is how long they're holding on to information.
ABC. I can't. I'm really bad. The words. It's like I'm writing with Marjorie Taylor Greene's toes.
I will tell you. At some point, I will get to say to Jill, I told you so. We could have been done this.
I know, right?
I told you so, or I told you so.
I told you so.
Because I told her what 4 years ago. This is what you need to do to get it done.
I mean, it's a lot of work. It's definitely a process. And it's just what's crazy is I don't know if many of you have seen lately, I kind of like troll Marsha Blackburn, senator from hell. Yeah, Tennessee, hell, same place. I have been putting this kind of weird pumpkin head up there that always says, play Misty for me. So I don't know if many of you know, there was a movie with Clint Eastwood. Wait, was it Clint Eastwood back in the day? And he used to be like somebody was a radio DJ in this thing or a radio. And she would always call in and say, play Misty for me. Because that's what I feel these journalists have become. No different than, they'll be whoever or whatever they're told to be. Yeah. It's like you just have to go. So now it's like if you just want a repeat cycle of like, play Trump for me, play this again, play this, they'll play it. And that's why I've just been lately like and it's a real weird pumpkin head that's going, play Misty for me. And it looks like Marsha Blackburn, to be honest. Big old pumpkin head. But some hair, receding hairline. Sorry.
The sentiment is on point though, because it's like they know they have the information, they know the information, but it doesn't win awards. I just write this one article. I don't get awards, and with these awards come monetary prizes, and because honestly, on book contract, a lot of people don't realize that you don't make money. So when they publicize things for you, you pay for that on the back end. It's like the music industry.
Right.
But, the awards, some of these awards that people win, these Pulitzers come with a cash prize in addition to a plaque and whatever else. Okay. They come with cash prizes. So for example, Nicole Hannah-Jones wouldn't have won the Pulitzer if the 1619 Project was just a 3-column article. It was this major publication with deep research. Those are the things that really win awards. But think about how she did it. She put the whole thing in the Sunday paper, the majority of it for free. Right. In the Sunday paper, whatever you pay for the paper, but it's not that expensive. You could get it online, and then did the book. These folks are doing the complete opposite. They are putting these little excerpts and things inside the New York Times to promote the book.
Yeah,
and it's like that's like hey, you find out your dog is sick because they throw up on the floor, right? And then you realize that they're sick. That's the evidence. For us, they're doing the same thing with our media. It's like, oh, here's the evidence that you want. This is how you know the country's sick, because we're feeding it to you. Mm-hmm. But it's like, we don't know what we don't know. And that's the part that makes living in this country right now so scary. We don't know what we don't know. And then when we hear these things, we're going on as we were just going on about life and whatever. It's like, whoa, but you knew this and you didn't tell us. It's scary.
And that's the thing. They like to feed enough just so you can be angry for long enough. And then the next little tidbit comes out next week. And now you're mad about that one. And then you forgot what was happening last week. So they definitely feed us in toddler bites to keep us angry, and nothing ever gets done.
Sure. All right. Let me just catch up with some comments here, because as you know, we have a great audience. And so Tila says, I agree. Quote, we saw this and he did that, unquote, after the fact, and usually with a book to sell, right?
Exactly.
Green-eyed says, I thought Mick was blind, deaf, and dumb all this time. Okay, yep. Black Beauty, agree. It's getting real for them all, ladies. They're all guilty. 45 and his imps are all guilty. Black Beauty says, yes, Aisha, tell it. Objectivity has been replaced with complicity.
Right.
100%.
And Black Beauty says, amen, Jill. Tila, LOL, LMAO, Jill. She's just laughing like crazy. And you're saying, Black Beauty, yes, it was Play Mystery for me with Clint Eastwood, LOL, Jill. Oh my gosh. All right.
You know what's really strange, though? One thing that I just want to make a note of, or we should all really think about it. Haven't you noticed how generic the people are becoming, the news media people? Like, there are no stars anymore either. Like, you won't, in about a year or 10 years, I do not believe it will just, they don't have a presence. So an Ari Melber or an Anderson Cooper, they're not going to exist, because these people buying into these media loops are just looking to broadcast and say what they want them to say, sort of like state TV. That is scary. They have no personalities. They're not stars. They're not star journalists, and nor are they trying to be. That's what's even more disturbing, Aisha.
They're pulling people out who aren't journalists to begin with. And
they're actors. They're failed actors. Now you can't even get a Bear commercial, or
you're not going to have the longevity that you did with the Barbara Walters.
An ambient actor.
Right.
These are people who can't even be a background person in a movie or a TV show.
But you're not going to have the longevity of a Barbara Walters, Diane Sawyer.
No, because they don't want to create
Peter Jennings,
because they don't
allow that.
But and they can control the narrative that way.
And also,
when you don't give power. When you don't give power, you won't give money. So the power and the money stays very, very low capped, and they will be beaten to death. We will all be in submission to guess who in our new feudal system, where everybody is of a billionaire, who are the most boring people in the world, are rich people. Dull. Too many of them in one room. You want to go jump out of the window, and they just like to everybody else who's, a regular Joe, because they know they're not interested.
Everybody wants to be influencers, and that's what they're doing. They're just doing it on TV. Everybody wants to be this big influencer. They want, come and be my affiliate. I've got,
and even that's control.
And it's no different. There's no substance there.
No, we got to talk about corporate media as well. Because remember, now all of these things are owned by.
There's only 4
conglomerations that have a number of stakeholders. Whereas, for example, you all didn't know who Gayle King was until she got to CBS and just knew her as Oprah's friend for a while. Mm-hmm. I've known her most of my life because she did local news here.
Right.
So So the celebrities aren't locally grown anymore either. The new celebrities aren't locally grown and have to really, like, the last one I can tell you who is like that is Craig Melvin, because Craig Melvin used to do local news in South Carolina, and now he's gone up that thing to now he's doing the Today Show. But the rest of them, I agree with Jill. The rest of them, no, they're hiring for quick personalities that fit to the day,
and they will have no leverage.
If you get a chance, any of you watch. I think it's Vice has a show called The Dark Side of the 90s, and they have one specifically on the morning show Rivals, and they talk about how it evolved from the very first morning show in the news and people, and it shows you how it's moved from that, where they built personalities, they put different people together. Then this competition that they've been in like the last 25 years, it's like the people are just siphoning through because they can't get the ratings right.
But they don't want people to have power anymore. So you have a situation where they literally destroyed Matt Lauer. See, I don't buy that of his story, because I've known too many women in the business during that time who wanted to be there. And all these like, he did this to me. I really know that has happened. But at the same time, I know there are many women who this was a takedown beyond by it was a mission. This takedown was to prevent that medium level connection between the lower classes and the upper classes. Because if you had a Barbara Walters sitting in the middle, or a Mike Wallace, or even a Matt Lauer, with the power that they had over a public, what happens is those were your go-tos. If there really were crazy things going on, they could get on a network and they could alert people like, hey, this is utter. People would have listened. But what they did was they took down every iconic personality in every industry. Harvey Weinstein, whatever. But I got to tell you, I've heard about some who are on the roll call for the LA trial that have talked to people and said that, they're just going to get paid. They're going to get their coins. Yeah. So, that was maybe hearsay, but truly, these who troll around here in California that will never see a film set, let alone the closest they'll get to a movie is maybe watching Netflix. But there is a denial in part of this whole Me Too thing. But the Me Too thing, it just broke down the structure, the infrastructure of what we had. And it's taking away the power. Okay. And unfortunately, we're only going to have billionaires overseeing everyone like kings and fiefdoms and kings and queens.
I'm going to bring the conversation back because we strayed away from the ripping of documents. What impact, if any, do you think? Is this a minor thing, major thing?
It's right now. I can be honest with you. It's major, but it's minor until he tells us, or at least the FBI and the DOJ, what documents did you see him rip up? How did he get those documents in his hand to rip up? What did you do when you saw him rip up such documents?
Did you hand it to him?
And after he was out of office and there was no threat to you, why did you not tell anyone that he had done this to documents? Because the thing is, Mick Mulvaney has just talked himself into a case. They're going to come after him. If you guess what, you know what? If you drive a car and you're sitting outside, you drive someone somewhere, you're sitting outside in the car waiting for them to come back, and they shoot and kill someone, you are going to jail. Period. Right.
Especially if you wait for him to come back out and give him a ride.
Green Knight says exactly. So, we've got an added topic that I'm going to put in here in just a moment. But Sarah from Ottawa, who's an incredible journalist up in Ottawa, she said Tim Russert was the gold standard. He was surely missed. Yeah. But she also has a question for all of you. So I'm going to put up on the screen. her question is, how come there haven't been more lawsuits against the Tuckums and other Fox agitators?
Well, it depends on what they've said. There's certain, our libel and slander laws are very specific. For example, the Dominion voting machines maker, they're suing Fox News. They're suing those people individually because of the lies that they spread about the voting machines. But for remember Tucker Carlson and all them, they don't purport to be journalists. They purport
It's entertainment.
To be opinion. They're entertainment and they're opinion actors, right? Mm-hmm. So basically what they're saying is opinion. And in this country, freedom of speech allows you to say your opinion. No one can sue you for your opinion. However, it is when your opinion becomes direction. And that's the difference with the people on Fox News versus these suits from the January 6 people suing Trump, saying that, well, he told us to do this. Mm. So that is the difference. It's a nuance that makes it's difficult to explain because it just shouldn't happen on a news network.
Yeah, but they should be told to say for entertainment purposes only. And
exactly.
There should be something that says it's a disclaimer because they make everybody do it on YouTube and all the other platforms.
But you know why they get
you're saying something on YouTube, you have to go for entertainment purposes only.
But you know why they get away with it? Because they have a certain proportion of their program that is actually direct news.
True, but that's the only way
that they get away with it. They skate by on that very thin line of that.
They do, but they could be held in contempt, or just the way everybody got Alex Jones all jacked up. But it took years and it took so much money for those families and the strength and the integrity of those attorneys who were defending those families. I don't know if it's pro bono or how they're doing it, but you guys gotta, you know how many years, 10 years, 15 years they've been like trying this stuff. This is why no one can go up against old dustbag taxidermy looking Rupert Murdoch and his ugly children and sons and everybody else. By the way, Jerry Hall she's divorcing them. Can you believe it?
Really?
Yes, she left his she should have let the ocean take his out there when they were trying to surf. Or she took him out there. I think she was trying.
I think she was holding on until he died. And then
she was like on, and then he came back and said, wow, I got a new heart yesterday. We just killed like a bunch of infants and I transplanted my heart into a new heart. I'm going to be here another 100 years. And she goes, oh, I'm getting
I just can't.
I can't take it. You know, how do you go from Brian Ferry to that? Oh,
I bet he smells like old mothballs and bologna.
Yeah, I know, right?
Okay,
you know how silicone, like we have these silicone ice cube trays, and my husband hates the thing of silicone because after a while, if you're using it for all these things, it stinks. It starts to pick up an odor of like frost or it's something. And we've thrown out many things that are silicone based because we're trying to save the planet, right? Right. But at the same time, it's like, oh my God, this stinks. I just, whatever. So yeah. Sorry, I don't know how I got there.
Oh my.
But that's what he could possibly smell like.
Do we want to know what Rupert Murdoch smells like? No, we don't. So that's all we're going to get on to our next conversation topic. Progressives applaud. Yes. Progressives applaud as Biden signs landmark IRA law.
Okay. I propose this topic because I have a problem.
Uh-oh.
This, and I've been thinking about it and I've been writing through it. So this was a really good week, this signature legislation. But Democrats missed the messaging point. It's Every time there's a success, there's an accomplishment, they miss the messaging part and they screw it all up. Now, I'll tell you this. Part of my job, we've been invested in this IRA. And so I started circulating on our social media all the different fact sheets they have about the different populations it's going to help. They've got state by state guides with regard to climate, state by state guides with regard to health. They have a fact sheet that says the IRA by the numbers, and it tells you how much money will go everywhere. They have the IRA on environmental justice, how Black communities will benefit, how Latino communities will benefit. They're doing the AAPI one. I know they've got Middle Eastern one coming through. They did the Native and Indigenous communities. They did youth. They did, I think LGBTQ is coming, but they are not sharing it the way that would get people to look at it. I think we got more likes and stuff from ours than the White House did when they did their one little tweet. And it's like, they're missing.
They're dropping the ball. They're dropping the ball. And it's going to be the detriment in the elections, this period.
Let me tell you, if these people would pay me to do their messaging, it's like I sat and I wrote this down literally. If you are a woman, they hate you. If you are Indigenous First Nation, they want to keep your land and your ancestors' remains from you. If you are Black, they want to enslave and kill you. If you are a child, they let other people kill you at school and make it easier for them to get the AR-15s to do so. If you are Latino, they want to separate your families. If you're an immigrant, they want to deport you. If you're LGBTQ, they want to erase you. If you're AAPI, they ignore you. If you aren't Christian, they want to indoctrinate you. If you are poor, they say pull yourself up by your bootstraps, then steal your boots and the straps. If you're old, they take away your Medicare and Social Security. In other words, your money. If you're pregnant, they take away your choices. If you work, they don't want to pay or insure you. If you are in the government, they want to overthrow you. If you are in the press, they want to silence you. If you vote, they want to disenfranchise you. If you teach, they want you to distort history. If you are Middle Eastern, North African, or Islamic, they call you a terrorist. When they are the real terrorists, they do all of these horrific things. Vote them out, period. That would be my ad.
That would be a hell of an ad. But the question is,
exactly.
But the question is, we're seeing things in this midterm election that no matter what we tell them, they still voting in these idiots now. This is why Liz lost her position. They don't.
We'll get to Liz in a moment, but I just thought I think I'm going to make a suggestion for the Democratic Party or for your president, Mr. Biden. I have on the screen your next press secretary and your next communications director. The two people on the top half of our, you two.
Oh, yes. Because what's her face? I've said it from the beginning that Jean-Philippe Pierre, whatever her name is, she just is not doing it.
No.
And
I did give her a chance, and I'm just like, girl.
No banana.
Look, that took me 10 minutes on my couch last night when I was so angry. Okay.
Right.
It's not that complicated.
No.
Girl, come on.
These women out here trying to raise little babies and keep these jobs and be like, whatever, I'm going to, do this. And then you've got Joe Biden running around like Captain Save-A-Ho, like I'm going to just appoint this one to this job and this one and give her a break. I feel like they're doing it at random and they need to find people who are just qualified. I mean, we cannot keep appeasing the peanut gallery all the time. She just looks like she's tired. Don't they have a toddler or something that they're raising? It's like, and what happened to Pete Buttigieg? Let's just be freaking honest. That went and had adopted two kids or whatever. And we ain't heard traffic signals or nothing from him. Isn't that what he was, a traffic guy? Yep. It's like, what a disappointment some of them have become. And I'm telling you, this watering down of personalities is kind of creepy to me. They don't have personalities,
right?
Very, very cookie cutter.
But I gotta say this. That part doesn't bother me because we just came off of a 4.5-year ride that still won't seem to
No, I
end.
think it should bother us when you don't feel any relevance. You feel like they just suddenly got the paycheck of their lives and suddenly went, woof, I get
I
more
get that
go
part,
buy a house.
but for me,
Okay,
in terms of personality, I think what I'm saying is that I kind of don't want one of the reasons we got Trump was because people were saying that Hillary Clinton lacked personality.
No, but you can't change what the public
I get
has
what you're
asked
saying,
for.
but I want people to hear that
My
part.
thing is, let's not ignore what the masses of this nation clearly want. Because if they didn't want it, he wouldn't still be popular if there was another personality even bigger. You can't take that away. When it goes away, I'm telling you, it won't go away
personality, though. That kind of personality
is doing really well in America.
It's doing really
thriving.
well. Here it is.
Thriving.
It's doing really well, but it takes work. And if you're working on just
it doesn't take work. They will vote for him no matter what.
But think about all the stuff that he does on his end to keep that going. He keeps putting out these things. And I mean,
but he's the reason why Mnuchin could go on TV. But he's the reason why
personality part.
But he's the reason why his base can go on these television shows, because when you have a leader like let's say a John Gotti, when you have somebody who is, hell, even when I worked for Prince, walking into a room, there's just a certain edge on your shoulder, on your sleeve, when you're even associated with somebody who rolls like that. Same with Puffy, with all of those people. It's called just being like in proximity. And it is an addiction too. People get off on it. And another thing is audiences respond to it. We can't all just be down home.
No, I know that, and I get that. My whole thing
Jen Psaki had personality. Yeah. She knew exactly who she was. This other one's the wrong girl for the job.
I get that. And here's the thing, as a communications person, you're supposed to have personality. You're supposed to have charisma. But the people who actually do the work behind you, you don't want them to have that, because that takes a lot of work. To be honest, there are days where I'm just like, ugh, I've been on camera all week. I don't feel like being on camera. And I don't even feel like being seen. So because it's so much work to keep that personality going. But I mean, people who do the nuts and bolts work, you don't want them to have.
That's the difference. It's not an act. I'm talking about authentic people. One thing about Donald Trump, he is Donald Trump 24/7. There's no go home, let me have a bunch of beers and watch TV, and then I'll put on this suit and be somebody else. No. This is somebody where it is the moment. It is about feeling the moment and being that personality who gives. These people are approaching politics and serving people like it's a 9 to 5. It is not. It is like if you're a police officer, in my mind, yes, it is. I've often said people walk away like they're going to, it's a 9 to 5 and I'm off the clock. To a degree you are. But when you choose jobs that are supposed to put you above the fray and have a standard to your life, we're talking about it being 24/7. When you stand for something, these jobs coming in and being treated like, I'll just be the press secretary. No, at least you make me uncomfortable that you're sharing information that I don't feel you even know what you're talking about. That's a crazy feeling.
I'm going to jump in here. So Aisha, you probably, I don't know how much you know of this IRA. I
know quite a bit about it because.
Okay, what are some of the positive attributes of this from your lens?
Definitely the healthcare cap at $2,000. Particularly, they couldn't get the insulin part in. For me, that was difficult. But my mother has noticed that our state, for example, has taken some of that off the hands of people her age and older. But there's a $2,000 cap where, for example, no one can charge you more than $2,000 for a medication.
In one go, in one sitting.
Yeah.
Well, who can pay? No. Paying $2,000. That's just one of the things. My sister. Wait for my one prescription. One prescription.
My sister's what do you call it? The organ rejection medication.
But this is a win.
This is
I'm sorry.
yes.
Now we know
because they can't charge you more for it. They can't charge you more for it. Now
would be able to? Wait, I get it,
but it gives your insurance. It gives your insurance.
What about people who don't have insurance?
More room to negotiate.
What about people who don't have insurance?
But guess what? They couldn't even negotiate on that. They couldn't negotiate.
I'm sorry. It
allows for negotiation.
It's not a win.
So, for example, I know my insurance, when they go with these higher ends of medications, the pharmaceutical people, they want to negotiate on the higher end. My insurance company wants to negotiate on the lower end, but they come somewhere in the middle that usually ends up closer to the higher end. However, with this IRA, they can negotiate, particularly if you have Medicare, Medicaid, or other state insurance, they can negotiate more toward the lower end. And that results in savings for people. That's not a
win to me. That's not a win to me by any stretch.
It's not a perfect
by any stretch.
When you pay more, when you end up paying more, it is something. For example, I have to tell you, when you have
first of all, let's just deal with the fact that why are most of the citizens in America sick? Is it that nasty GMO food they've been feeding us, and now we're all bloated and inflammation and nearly damn near dying? I don't have health insurance. I can't afford what it would cost. Okay?
Not even with the Obama.
Sorry about it, but sorry. I don't. So I don't know who they're getting insurance for when we can't afford it.
That's my issue. Now,
but I work for myself. The medical part, like I said, that's not the whole of it. That's just one
believe
thing.
Me, if they're that out of touch walking a mile in my shoes, they're way off. They don't know any of our lives.
What I'm saying is that I know that one thing about the price of a prescription. I don't know about the complete limit.
I know the price of a prescription. One of my prescriptions was $800.
I don't know the complete limit.
And I don't take it.
Bill.
That's why.
I don't know the complete limit in the bill because I haven't read the full 500 pages on the health part.
You know what's so about America?
It might very well be that
and they wonder why no one wanted a vaccine. It's because this country allowed people to suffer with no health insurance for years, for decades. And they were always using things like ivermectin and all these things. And we clown them. We clown them about that they could afford to stay alive. The reality is people in America doesn't take care of its people. Democrats or Republicans are doing the worst job ever. Period.
And then you got people like Mark Cuban, who's proving all of this point about these expensive medicines wrong in the first place. He comes along and he creates this wonderful plan where people can actually afford medicine.
You honestly believe he'll really give it, though?
What'd you say?
Mark Cuban, I don't trust him. What does he want?
Well,
what the does he want?
Yeah.
He has no self-respect. Look at the way his body looks. He doesn't even take care of himself. How the is he going to take care of anybody else? If he had any self-respect, he wouldn't be the way he is. I mean, good. Everybody gets to enjoy their thing, but let's just be for real. That bill is, in fact, all of them are. Yeah, okay, it's great. Wonderful. Biden signed it. But his staff and his administration and all those people, if there were people who wanted to run just against them on GP, like other Democrats, I'd probably vote for every single one of them. New faces, because I'm sick of the old ones. They've been there too damn long to have not done one great thing. Our lives are not better. Our quality of life is not better. It's getting worse and worse every freaking day.
All right, let's continue on. Well, actually, I'm going to slide this one in. I think you've talked a little bit about it, but I'll also add this as a conversation piece. Again, Sarah from Watto asks, who are the Dems communication consultants and why aren't they probably more aggressive about touting these successes?
Well, that's the problem. That's the problem that I was saying in the very beginning. It's the messaging how they do the messaging is terrible. And you have to remember that the actual messaging comes from there's the DCC, which has the chair of the DCC is a member of Congress. And then there's the DNC, and that's Jamie Harrison. And the DNC usually is their job is to be responsible for the messaging that goes out to the country about the Democratic platform. And they just miss it every time. It's one of those things where they have these successes, but what they're afraid to do is talk about the social parts of things. They want to deal with the financial part of it, but they're not dealing with the social part of it. And that's where Republicans are right now, and Republican voters are right now, where Republicans aren't talking about the money. They're not talking about the policies and things that might be taken away from you. They're talking about the cultural issues to kind of muddy the waters. And so Dems try and counter that with, we'll reduce your taxes, we'll do this and this and this, when they really need to be fighting on the social issues. So why aren't they more aggressive about touting these successes? Because right now people want to talk about the social issues, and Dems just aren't meeting the mark.
Anyone else want to add? I think that basically covers it.
Yeah.
Okay, let's move forward. Liz Cheney.
What did I tell you, Aisha, about that? Was it you? I said, I don't care that she lost. She's voted against us every step of the way.
Every time.
So, it's like, boo-hoo, thank you. You need to get your together before we have to run on with this new committee at the beginning of the year. But let's not make her out to be, freaking like
a martyr.
A martyr.
Well, you heard her come out and say, well, see, Democrats, you could help me get in because I stood up for the right thing. You should have stood up for the right thing from the beginning.
Okay,
exactly.
He was in the office. You still was supporting stuff that you shouldn't have been supporting.
She still was on her knees. She's been begging her whole time. Yeah. And let's just be honest. Go be a mom. You got 5 kids. Go enjoy them. You're rich. You have a good life. Bye. Because this is the thing about power and lust of it. It's like they never know. You stayed too long at the fair. And the reality is, I'm not so sure that she has enough people to even pull away if she was running against, if Trump ran again. The Democratic Party is not what she thinks it is. And they've been trying to tell her that for how many years now?
I got to disagree with you, and I'm going to tell you why. Why are white women launching these campaigns on social media to vote for her in November?
Democratic women.
Yes, they are. And that's the part. White Democratic women. It's like, yo, you're over here complaining about abortion rights. This woman voted to support that stuff. Wake up.
The women, but we'll see what the young girls do. Because on that note, Liz might really fall down on her face. I think that we're going to see a lot from the young women who, and I don't often speak on Gen Z that much, but Gen Z and the millennials, the younger ones, I think they're going to surprise people like they did in some state in Missouri. I really do think that coalition and that group and that lobby, how they're doing that. Liz, and her problems, really, her father was isn't he like, he's just too senile to remember anything now, all of his crimes, and we're supposed to, it's like, what's crazy is that how everybody shut down her father's legacy. Like they put it in a coffin. It's done. Why do we keep trying to resurrect this? And Democratic women who support it, I will do everything in my power to say, move on next. Anybody could have done the role she's been playing in the January insurrection stuff, only because they're all lawyers, and all lawyers lie and twist anyway.
No,
so
but when I met Democratic women, I didn't mean anyone in Congress or anything. I'm talking about Democratic women voters in Wyoming.
Yeah, we know, but it made me just know that
it's insane because they're willing to give her the pity vote in November, and that should be scary.
Note to self, never go to Wyoming. Well,
not just go to Wyoming, but they'll send her back to DC to vote for the same. It's like, dude,
she's not going to make it.
She's not, but they're.
I think she's done too.
I think she's done too, but just you know, we also thought that Trump was done too. And then what did those white women do?
But if anything, she should have
the
seen this as
the ones that didn't like Hillary.
her time to repent, you know. But yeah, she's now been thrown on the cart, the cart, like the baggage wheel, like Hillary. And in a few more months, it'll just be the same as whatever. She might make one more last hurrah and an attempt, and then she'll get completely kicked to the curb like Hills did. It's just, that's the way it is. And then all this is about saving her face, all the PR and the little, she's got a PR machine working her name too right now. And it's kind of like, I'm tired of you. You really brought us here. You brought us to the threshold because you supported and enabled Donald Trump the whole time through. What in your right mind?
And I think that people and Democrats need to be on their toes about this. Understand, they got rid of her on purpose for this thing. This January 6th commission is now a partisan commission.
Of course.
And that is what Republicans need for 2024. They need to be able to say it's a partisan witch hunt.
Right.
For 2024. It doesn't matter who their candidate is. They just know that that phrase gets them votes on their side.
Maybe. Maybe. I think there's going to be some weird stuff coming out about Kevin McCarthy. I just really, or whatever his name is, McCartney or whatever, McCarthy. And I also think that, it's going to be interesting. But Elise Stefanik mowed her down months ago. And whatever it's going to be, Republicans are always 10 steps ahead about how to reframe stuff.
Also not coming back.
Zinzinger, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
But they knew that. So it's nothing new. Like, it's nothing new. That was the problem with we tried to impeach him. You've got Lisa Murkowski, and how crazy. Think about it. These put Sarah Palin back in. So what do we expect? This is America, and at the end of the day, it is partisan. It's war, baby. It's us against you. It's them against us. And ain't nobody, Joe Biden, somebody better knock him in the head with some sense and say, this is it. You are never going to get anything to align here, ever. Because the war is already going. It's already happening.
Eyes to it are always trying to say you're trying to be the president for the people all the time. That's not working. Joe, I'm going to need you to wake up.
I agree.
You need a shot of espresso on the arm. Because every time I see you, you got ready to go to sleep. I'm over it. And I can't even, and the shame is I can't even watch him because I get just as angry.
I know.
Like, I want to watch you. I want to support you, but you're not doing anything.
I get Schadenfreude, is it? I think that's where you cringe for it starting. And I don't like that feeling in the pit of my stomach when I see him. And I used to have the biggest, crush on Joe Biden back in the day. I was like, yes, back in the 80s. I was like, he is, I related to that form of democracy. I wasn't all about, Miss Liberalism. There was some parts of stuff that I liked, but now it's like, damn, they're really putting him through the ringer. And I'm very concerned about that. But I also believe that's part of his administration. They're not enough for me. His chief of staff, it's like, dude, he's another one with no personality. He's another one like day old toast. It's like, oh God. I'm like, we're trying to talk about Brittany Griner and I just can't get a read. And I don't like people like that because they're too much like those from the Matrix. Those with the glasses on, they're all of these politicians are starting to be like the Matrix dudes. They could be anybody. And I don't like that.
I think though, here's the thing is that most administrations, they go through like after that first year, that first year of transition.
Is it the first 2 years?
Yeah, the first 2 years. After like around the second year, people tend to drop off.
Okay, cool.
After October and stuff.
Don't you think he needs a different chief of staff?
But I think it's time for him to start doing that with his people.
Yes.
However, I think coming in with a bunch of boring people was what people were asking for because of the Trump show.
Maybe.
So we got to keep that in mind. However, now that that's over and it's been transitioned, now people need to start dropping off like they normally would. Like, for example, Simone Sanders knew when to bow out. She was there just through transition and to make sure things were on right and and bow out, because that's what she does. That's what, that's the kind of role that she takes on. And most people understood that. Jen Psaki, she was there to get through the COVID part of it mostly. And then we always knew she was leaving because she said that when she went in. Some of these other folks, though, don't know how to kind of, hey.
I think that because the world has been exposed to shows like fictional shows like West Wing and all these other things, there is a way that it has sort of skewed the way American people want to see their White House being run. And, even if you just take the testing from those TV shows, how Martin Sheen's character always registered very high. And these are very, very long running shows. If you look at what they liked about it, that's the Americana audience read. It's just so obvious and it's right there. And they do like a little bit of, they just do.
But they also
and what's her face? When we see a Black woman go up and have the press thing, who are we all wanting to see? Olivia Pope and her people. Oh, because it's fresh in our minds. We want girlfriend.
I hate to say
it. Isn't that the thing with like the reality is not like
I know that. But we know reality based upon, we've seen Van Jones having conversations and been like, this was actually hired to work in the White House. I should have applied.
And he was also fired.
He was also fired. He was. Yes, he was. But that's the whole thing, that you're sitting there like going, wait a minute, don't tell me that this is that basic.
There's usually a lot
and
of
that's a shocker. You know it because it's something you grew up in. But
there's a lot of turnover in White Houses, but not as much as there was with the last administration. That's what some 600 to 800 people.
In that it was so weird.
But to go through
around, just jump off when you get to the rail circle.
One of the craziest moments I remember was Donald Trump.
We had Attorney General. We had 3 different Attorney Generals in 3 months.
Yeah, one of them looked like the Keebler elf. I don't even remember his name.
Yeah, and then we had the one that looked like Mr. Clean.
Yeah.
Remember the other one?
We did, yeah. And then
the what?
The Keebler elf and Mr. Clean. We had that's who it was. We
always said he looked like the Keebler elf.
He did, yeah. And but the really crazy part, what I remember, where Trump does the old slap and stroke method, which anybody who's had that happen to them in a relationship with somebody or at work or whatever, was when he slapped and stroked the White House, where he said, basically it was a ghetto and it was beneath him to live there. I mean, that was a huge turning point, to be the snobbery of what's her face, oh, I can't stand it here. It's this, it's that. There's roaches. He degraded it. Do you all remember? He specifically came out and said that. And there is a method where he basically stripped away every belief system that people felt about this prominent house, right?
Yes.
That slaves died to build, right?
Yes.
He took it all the way down to that moment was as powerful as if he had lit a match to the building. And they have had no respect for it ever since. And I think if the man went on TV and ripped the Constitution up in front of Steve Mnuchin and wiped his on it, they would have all sat there. And that's basically what he did anyway.
Yes.
So that metaphor of I saw him rip papers up, Steve Mnuchin, you basically saw that of a man that you called a president all over everything and rip up the paper. And if he asked you to eat it, you would have. You probably did, actually.
Though that's kind of like people's perception of Yale and they come to New Haven.
Oh, Mick Mulvaney. Sorry, not Steve Mnuchin.
Yes.
Mick Mulvaney. Yeah. They're all the same. They're all the same.
Okay. All right. Let's move forward. Another Giuliani as targeted at Fulton election case. Rudy's back.
I don't know why he thinks he has options. Dude, target means an arrest is imminent. Okay. I listened to the lawyers on MSNBC talking about what it means when a person is a target. It means the arrest is forthcoming.
Did they say that?
Yes, they said that is the prosecutor letting his attorney know to get your client ready because they're going to be arrested. Tell them they are a target. Because when an attorney says, is my client a target of your investigation, they are asking, are you going to eventually arrest my client for this charge?
Basically, you just need to go in and be like, here.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Because
make it easy. Can he just
because you can try and go and plead the fifth, you're still going to get arrested.
You know what they need to do? They need to bring, that polish that you use on your shoes and that little spongy thing. They just need to give Giuliani some of that. So you're going to be here for a while. You're going to be here for a while. You can just rub it in.
His attorney's going to have him turn himself in. But man, I want a perp walk.
Yeah, I really do. I want the one that they do on what is it, Game of Thrones, where your girl has to walk down. I want to see it all.
Right. We're getting close. And Lindsey Graham will be.
One.
Oh my God. Yeah.
He got a win today.
Yes, he did.
Why? What he did? How?
Why, Aisha? Why?
I didn't catch why, but I just heard that he got a win today, but he shouldn't get too excited.
Why do we keep doing this? That's what I'm saying. We already know this stuff should have been done. Why do we keep playing this Mickey Mouse game? That's what angers me more than anything. And then that's why I'm at the point where I ain't even looking at the news today because.
Well, here's the thing. Lindsay is acting like a real, because Homegirl is basically like, do you want to be a target? If you do not want to be a target, come talk to me. If you don't want to come talk to me, you will become a target.
Yeah.
And that's basically where they stand. And I guess they told him that he can appeal or whatever. And I think that was what the win was, something about the appeal. I think he was granted his appeal or something. Yeah,
I read a little bit about it, but like I said, my main thing with this is, even though they come out with these fantabulous lines, and you can spin it any way that you want to, just seems to me everything is going in such a snail pace. And I'm trying to be patient in the fact that I'm praying that while this is going at a snail pace, they're gathering more things to really just hammer that whole coffin all the way down where it cannot be opened again. But sometimes I feel like I'm being delusional about that because they're still getting so many other wins to me that it negates anything that we see being done.
But you know what? Think about, we're watching, we have to think about it this way. We are watching a criminal trial take place in public.
Yeah.
So because we don't see the background stuff of it, we're like, then nothing must be happening because we go months and months and months and not hear anything. But for example, when it comes to murder cases, particularly federal cases, it takes a long time for it to even come to to even have a hearing. There's these long paces, and this is they're federal cases. This Fulton County one, it takes a long time to just get in the door. It's you think about last court thing was child support. It took 2 years from the time that I filed till I had my first court date. Our justice system is timed in such a way that on one hand, that time is designed to protect us, but on the other hand, the length of time that we have to do things hasn't caught up with the fact that we're now in this digital world and we have access to things a lot faster than they did when they wrote these laws and they codified these laws.
Yeah, we're definitely an instantaneous world, and that's what I always try to think about. I mean, I can tell you, y'all know I went to Portugal, and I have to bring it up just because what I love so much about over there is they took the time to breathe, and I feel like I want everything now. I don't want to know something. Oh, let me Google it. Whereas over there, they take the time to breathe. They take it's lunchtime. Let's go take a nap. Things like that, and I think that's doing us in as Americans. We work too much and want too much. Everybody wants to drive a Rolls Royce so that we want things like this to happen so fast. But if then they do, then there's loopholes to get them out. So where do we catch up with this? are we going to even see that catch up in our lifetime? Because things are just moving so fast.
I think
no, I don't think so. And I think the reason is, again, this goes back to the United States being in that peculiar situation as, like, for example, you go to Europe, there's not a European law. Each country has its own law. But when you come to this country, the country it's a country. It has the country laws. And then every little state in the country has its own set of laws. And so even if the federal laws were to advance a lot more toward the digital and the speed to catch up, the federal laws would still lag behind. And that is the thing. And remember that the federal laws only get enacted when the state laws become unconstitutional. And that's our downfall. I mean, we don't have just one system of government in this country. We've got what?
Well, that's why the country's going to fail. I mean, the reality is it's going down. And, I keep suggesting to people, find your way out of here and find another optional place to live, especially if you're a person of color. I do not think this place will exist for people of color. And unfortunately, if this place does go, I don't feel that anywhere in the world will support anybody who's people of color. Not really. I feel that, shackles is what everybody's headed for, or your grandchildren. I really do. I don't think that there's that there's a quality in people anymore, integrity, certain jobs or certain lifestyles that require authority. When a country doesn't want any authority and just whatever it is, it's like we're standing on the precipice of something very, very dark, because you do need authority measures and authority figures. But we've gotten to the place where, nobody wants it and everybody's upset, or this one or that one. And, I just read about the law in New York where if you witness a crime, your name as a witness goes to the defense. So if it's a mad drug dealer that you saw and witnessed a crime, your name goes to the defense before the trial. And the reason for that is because progressives thought, everybody needs a fair trial. Do they? Maybe that small town Joe who knew how to keep his stuff, and on that level, that's just some common sense stuff. Everybody's got too damn much to say about things. Absolutely not. But that's why you're seeing more crimes too, especially in certain cities. Yeah, that was Cuomo's bright idea. The thing is that, and appeasing progressives, just because of what? So then you don't get testimony, and then criminals get let back out on the streets, because all that's starting to happen is people are not, we might as well be, headed up. God only knows where that's going to get us. And, our recall for Gascon failed here. I wanted that out so badly. You have no idea. And here he is. He's stuck. He's the worst guy we've ever had. It's awful. And that's progressives. When everybody, the other day, someone was telling me about, not to get too far off the track, about my belief about, cisgendered women and trans women being able to have a conversation about, some women are feeling that rights have been leapfrogged over for cis women. And we've jumped right into the trans world, and Black women in particular are spearheading that, when every feminist organization as Black women or feminists, Black feminists, have spearheaded so much and carry so much and have not seen their due. We don't have equal pay. We don't have a lot of things. We don't have health insurance. We don't have health care for our kids. We don't have a lot. And so now we're going to go and deal with men who want to wear dresses and high heels. And I'm not trying to say that in a disparaging way, but I do feel that some of us as Black feminists are being left behind. And it's a conversation that needs to be had.
It does.
So it just has to be, because it's creating all of this division, and we're all lugging everybody forward. But when I look at this bill Biden passed and everything, we're still not being served. And we still, for our reparations, they have a thing here for Black people to possibly get the reparations. You've got to be able to go back to identify the slave who came here. Have you all tried that? It's really difficult. When your slave relative was maybe named,
That's right. The name
something, yeah.
I just sort of jump in real quick because our conversation is going all around the place. So Sarah from Ottawa asks, if there are receipts that Lindsay broke the law, why is the justice system being so soft with him?
Why is what?
If there are receipts that Lindsay broke the law, Lindsey Graham, why is the justice system being so soft with him?
Because like with any court case, the first thing they really want is the person to confess.
Right.
It makes it that much easier to get through the legal system. If somebody confesses to a crime, do you know how quickly those court cases go by? They go by very fast. So that's the first thing they want to do. The other thing too is that they need to know if they pursue this case about Trump, can they flip him? Lindsay's going to have to reveal his hand now. Now that he gets this appeal, he has to reveal his hand. He also, and this is the thing about discovery, is that he has to start to let the prosecutor see some of the cards. And that's what he wants to avoid.
Okay. All right. And also,
and remember, some of those cards are going to lead directly to Trump.
Mm-hmm. Mm.
Why aren't there federal elections under federal jurisdiction in the U.S. like they are in Canada? Aisha?
Because
we weren't set up that way. We have the state laws.
Yeah, they never set up. They never set it up that way. They always put the elections under local jurisdictions because the local people always operate them. Remember, it's local taxes that fund elections. So the facilities that where you go to vote and all of those things are paid by local taxes, not federal taxes. Now you would think, and also too, you got to keep in mind that with our system that our statewide elections and things and citywide elections, those things happen much more frequently than our presidential elections, which occur every 4 years. Mm-hmm. So you would think that the federal government would at least want to oversee the federal election. But that is one of those things that did not get into the original Voting Rights Act, I believe, when King and everyone else presented it to Johnson because they knew they wouldn't get that to pass.
Okay.
This country was finished the day the towers came down. This was when it really seeped in that we had enemies after it, and they had a plan. And it came from, we know where that came from. And it's been working, and it's been in the works for a very long time.
Okay. Let's move to our next conversation piece. Black therapists fired, doxxed campaign by Black women for advocating Black men to get therapy. Speaking in general from her professional experience. Aisha, you brought this information.
So I was watching, I saw the videos. There's this woman who happens to be a Black therapist. She's actually she has a TikTok account. She does TikTok videos. And she was talking just really in general about relationships between Black men and women. She was responding to a comment that someone made. And they didn't like her delivery of it because she was talking street. She was talking because it was just her personal TikTok account. She said, in my practice as a therapist, I have seen these kinds of dynamics. She's describing dynamics, not specific people, not specific relationships or whatever, but there were Black women who didn't appreciate her speaking in general about Black men getting therapy, one, and then two, they didn't like her delivery. So it started with this one journalist, but they went and they doxed her for that TikTok video, and she got fired. And she did a follow-up where she talked about being fired. And it was she delivered it the same way that she delivered the other one. But the thing to me was that, why do we do this to each other?
Yeah. Well, what was she saying?
Just in general, that, relationship dynamics are, she's talking about relationship dynamics being complicated, and that they're, each Black men and women each have their own toxicities inside their own internal issues, but Black women are like more willing to go get therapy. And most of her clients, she said, who happen to be, she's like, I've happened to work in facilities and places where I've worked with a lot of Black male clients on therapy. And this is the kind of dynamic that I see with these men when they talk about their relationships with Black women. That is what she basically was talking about.
I think she basically decided that she didn't want to be professional and wanted to be a TikTok psychiatrist. See, there's a time and a place for it. I personally, why would you do that on a freaking Instagram or that? I mean, like, honestly, I don't understand that.
I look at it this way. Here's the thing. I say what I say on this show, not representing myself in my job, but I will sometimes say, well, we've been working on this and relate it to something that we're talking to because the actual work itself. I don't give specifics. How would I feel if somebody did that to me? Just because
you're dealing with people who are coming to you with mental health issues, who are in a fragile state of mind. And even if you give an example,
but she didn't give examples.
But I think it goes into
as someone who had a mental health therapist license, if that's the case, then you should not expect therapists to talk in public and give any public speeches, because when you start talking about dynamics and things in general, she didn't say.
I heard the video that you sent, but I didn't think she was very professional. I thought it was
that was my problem.
I was like,
that should not be a reason, but that's not a reason to dox her. You don't like.
No, it is not.
I didn't care for her delivery either. I thought it was. I'm like, okay, the language, all that stuff. I didn't care for her delivery.
I was really shocked. But I was like, is this what it's come to for even therapists now? I'll just go home and read a self-help book. I'll never go to it. This is what the future is.
There's no point in doxing her.
Well, she's on social media. I mean, we do it every time we come online. I mean, it is the risk you take.
And I don't see that any different than and this may be off, but this is the best example I can see. I mean, we see people like Joe Rogan and all those people coming on social media, and we all cry, oh God, get him off.
Yes.
And it's trickling down to everything that we do. Cancel culture, whenever.
It's true.
Do I believe that they went after her unjustified? I feel like they did.
Right.
But you know what? You put yourself out there, sister, and this is the new world. This is how it works now. If you don't want that to happen, then you need to be able to take the consequences. Should she have lost her job? No. I don't agree she should have, but this is how we're living now.
Yeah.
And if you want to do it for the big wigs, you can expect that it's going to happen for people like you and me.
If she had her own practice, fine, but it seemed like she was collecting a check from whatever, and that's where the problem is. You don't think that people come on and look at something that I've done and it can reflect on everybody that knows me. Something I say.
I'm sure of that. However, I think that at her workplace, the NDA thing and that you sign, those papers that you signed for therapists specifically, that's kind of stuff when you are representing yourself and you're speaking for yourself and you speak in general terms, your contract does not prevent you for that. And I think that's the reason for.
I don't think they're allowing NDAs. That's actually in court at the moment. That whole thing about allowing NDAs with labor laws.
But right now, it's not so much.
There was one part of it got won in court somewhere and set precedents, and they're going into the next. I forget. We talked about it.
But the NDA is not for work practices. It's what any person will sign as a therapist. period, because it's not so much. There are work policies, and those are NDA.
I would hate to see my therapist
the
talking and leaving like I've seen dynamics with men and women and bloop-de-bloop, because 9 times out of 10 there's somebody that she referenced who probably felt that she was directly using their story. I mean, it opens up another thing to be said. Like, it is definitely free speech, but she didn't use names, but
they do it anyway. I mean, you get the other side of it too, is that she didn't use names. She didn't use specific situations in public. Your therapist, some of your therapists are talking behind your back. Period.
Yeah, but I'm saying if you get caught doing it, you actually are in trouble. That's not supposed to be done. And the reality is, I wouldn't around with people who had mental problems, period. I wouldn't take it. Like, I just wouldn't do it. You know, that is wrong. It's just wrong. There's an ethical
thing behind it. You never know how that's going to come back on you either. Because I'm going to tell you right now.
For me, though, the bigger issue was that it was the way it was Black women doxing her. That really was the issue I took.
Are we sure they were Black women, or was it?
Yes, they were. It was very obvious, but also there are articles that followed up about it, specifically stating that it started with a Black journalist, a Black female journalist, who did the doxing and getting people to circulate the article.
But the whole thing is doxing is wrong. She should have lost her account, and probably will.
She should have lost her job.
Yes. And she probably still can.
Journalists should not dox.
Then that's for that. Yes, even she should. You don't dox or put somebody in harm's way just for that crazy patient who's going to be like, "Is that me?"
Yeah, I tell you this. No. I think that as Black women, we have enough problems. Period. When it comes to work, the issue I struggled with this whole thing, and this is why I brought it up, was I myself have made it a point that I don't go to Black women's supervisors when they're white. If someone's like rude or whatever, I try not to do that, because I wonder how that ends up. I'll give you an example. I was in the store. I was in Bed Bath & Beyond the other day. I went to buy a heating blanket. Yes, a heating blanket in the summer, but I went to buy a heating blanket. And the girl didn't know where anything was. And she was kind of flippant. She's like, well, if we have, what is a heating blanket? I don't know what a heating blanket is. I don't know what you're talking about. If we have it, it's over there. And it was very flippant about it. And I was like, I could report this behavior because right now this has me wanting to walk out, but I really want that heating blanket. And I saw the general manager, who was white male, and I didn't say anything to him. I knew the assistant manager, who was a Black male, and he asked, and I had walked by him, said hi, and he asked me, is everything okay? I said, I didn't want to say it to the other manager, but I'll tell you, you probably should have somebody in the front who knows where things are and a little bit more courteous to people, because I think that in some ways, I've known what it's like when your white supervisors are quick to, people go to your supervisors and they come to you and just how they can be. And I want to lessen that for other Black women. So as a practice, I don't do that. I might talk to them later or write a little note and drop it by them to let them know, look, I see you and this is how you were. I didn't tell your boss, but just overlook it. But there's just
that's a thankless job to be in. I'm going to tell whoever I have to. That's not what I'm here for. I don't believe we do anybody any favors, because there is a real reality right now. There are many people who don't want to work and don't take their jobs seriously. I mean, I can't do that. I know we're like, I don't know. That's why I shop online. I don't even try to do any of that anymore.
All right, let's move on. Second last conversation piece. The GOP is spreading misinformation about
Tucker Carlson literally said there are 87,000 IRS agents with AR-15s, and they're coming to the houses of middle Americans. He said
it's going to take them a long time to do all of that.
Not just he said it, then Chuck Grassley picked up on it, and this person picked up on it, and it's like it's become a GOP talking point now.
Yeah, but pick a side. You either want gun control or
Right.
I'm saying.
Exactly. Now they don't want the AR-15s. Now they're worried about them, right?
Yeah.
What happened to blue and all that people matter? You know, all of a sudden they're the enemy because why they went into Trump's place and did what they were supposed to do.
I know. They are a mess. They are so like, it's now they're just like swimming around everywhere. Who knows?
Oh my God. It's so funny to me though, when they're like, and then they came in and they had this and that. That's what they do when they come to somebody's house they suspect of a crime. They don't knock on the door politely and say, hey, how you doing? You think you might want to let us look in your house? I mean, we have this piece of paper just in case, but yeah, we just want to come in and look around. You can even show us around. No, they don't do that. They asked you several times. You didn't comply. Well, comply. You tell Black people all the time, you should have complied, Trump. They asked you for things and you didn't comply, so they came to your house to find out. It's like you didn't comply. And I love that little mashup Ari Melber did earlier this week, about all the different people who were telling Black people to just comply when it came to the police.
Right.
And now those same people are outraged about Trump. Right.
Yeah.
It's
really sad.
They're eating each other alive. They're just eating themselves alive, and it's just sit back and watch it. What is it? Smell
does anybody know what the real ratings for all of them are at the moment? Because I think all the shows are suffering from ratings. I don't think anybody's really tuning in as much as they all think they are. Personally, I know that CNN is suffering.
Well, they're going to have to lighten up on some of the Trump stuff. I think people are tired. People have Trump fatigue. They're tired of it. It was like, remember, the man felt like he had to come on the news every freaking day during COVID, when he knew people were at home and couldn't go anywhere. It was like, I mean, people are tired. People are getting Trump sick. You know what I mean?
That's why he's going to win.
I don't think he is. I really don't. I think he's done.
I think he's done. I think they're going to make this go away real quick.
Because put it this way,
I don't think he'll physically be able to deal with what's getting ready to hit him.
He's also
not like Tony Montana at the end of the movie.
He's also not going to be able to have the same kind of media access that he had when he was running the first time. You forget that he was on every network, every show. Sure. They kept entertaining him. MSNBC won't have him. He won't go on CNN, even though they will try. And Fox, I have to be honest with you about Fox. Rupert Murdoch wants to move in the way of DeSantis. He's going to limit. And remember, OAN lost all of its contracts. They are strictly an online news organization now because no one is carrying them. And Newsmax, I mean, it's an ignorable network here. So he's not going to have those places. He might be able to go on, what is it? What is Fox's money channel? Whatever their money channel is, where Maria, whatever her name is, nobody sits and watches that. And the only time
they need to just retire old Pumpkinhead show.
So his media options are going to be very limited. And the major networks,
Maria Butterumo or
ABC
whatever her name
will not
is.
have him on TV again because remember, ABC is owned by Disney.
Yeah, I mean, we are going to see some shifts with things moving a little right lately.
Yeah. And remember what DeSantis, Trump Jr. did to Disney.
I know.
Yes.
I do remember that.
Yes, okay. We're winding it down. Why is free R.Kelly trending?
I didn't know it was trending.
It's not so much a topic. It really is just a question that I have because every day that I go on Twitter, at some point I see this.
It's not on mine. It must be the algorithms capturing you, which I'm fascinated by.
Which I am too, because I don't like R.Kelly.
It must be people that you're following. You're kind of in that loop because I'm not getting anything about R.Kelly.
When I look, not just my trending for you, when I go under, because I also go through the different topics. Like on an entertainment topic, I see it.
Maybe yeah.
And they get it trending pretty high. And I can't understand why this is happening. It's like, aren't we done here?
Well, you do know, like when you're watching, like you're streaming something on television, it's gotten to the point now where they can isolate the ads directly to, like you and I could both be watching YouTube TV.
Yeah.
And the commercial comes, whichever the commercial is, and I'm going to see something different than you are. It's always targeted. So that's how scary this is in such a, and so invasive. So I will say the best ad that just came on recently was DuckDuckGo. And I've used that now as my primary browser because it is the one where basically they can't really track you on it too much, you limit a lot of the advertising. And they have a great advertising campaign right now using Sting's song. Every breath you take.
I'm a step up from that. I use probably one of the best browsers, and I'm not getting paid. There's a browser called Brave. It blocks everything.
Brave?
Yes, the Brave browser. Yes, and basically, so when I use it, for example, when I log into my Gmail and stuff, it has me in a location in Germany, and I am
nice. Yes.
So it totally gives me. It's almost I'm anonymous online on any sites that I use with the Brave browser.
Nice. Oh, that's really good to know. But yeah, I mean, with R.Kelly and all of that, there are still a few people in this milieu. And don't forget those bots. These artists have companies that get paid to buy these bots to keep their names even relevant. I mean, how much am I going to have to hear about Amber Heard and Johnny Depp? I mean, it's like it just catches a wave because of capitalism. People have figured out how to pimp people and make money off of them. Even, that's the sickest thing. Capitalism is the reason we're all here. Everybody will pimp anybody and everybody.
And that's the thing for me. It's like, it's sick. It's like you're scrolling down, all of a sudden you see this, and you just feel have this visceral, gross reaction about it.
It's tragic what we've become.
Those things trigger me. And I'm just going to be very honest. As a sexual abuse survivor, those things I have to be very, very careful about. I may be okay one time, but if I see it another time, I may not be okay.
True.
So anything with Cosby or R.Kelly or all that stuff, it like I have a pit in my stomach right now with us just talking about it. It just makes me want to throw up. It's like we allow this behavior, and then you have people who are like, he's still innocent. It's the same thing with Trump.
Yeah, but you know what's so interesting, not to rub salt in the wound on this one, but there was a report that came out yesterday. A girl did a study on TikTok that she made more tips when she wore pigtails versus when she wore her hair just down. And we are a country that's been so obsessed with pedophilia, child pedophilia, and yet people won't give up their nasty habits, which is number one, the youth worshiping here in America's crazy. And it's really true. When I bartended at one time, when you do wear pigtails, you make a lot of money. It's kind of perverse that's what happens. And we are in a country that obsesses over youth. All of our music stars, our history by the time they're 23, we don't want them. They're getting younger and younger, but we have created an environment that supports this. And everybody needs to be held accountable for that because we're all guilty of somewhere with the Nickelodeon TV dumb shows. They're stupid. And look at how dumb the parents always are on these dumb Disney shows.
Like the kids.
I didn't know you were doing. I mean, they're goofy and it's really undermining. This is come on, people, get it together.
I'm going to slide in one last story because Jill wanted it. Suspected car bomb kills the daughter of Russian nationalist known as Putin's brain.
Yes.
This just happened a few hours ago. What does this mean for the war in Ukraine?
It's big. It's really big. Some KGB, FSB or KGB, old style guys, there's a couple parallel stories going. Some believe Putin may have created it as a kind of false flag in order to go and do what he wants to really do in Kyiv. Ukraine has denied anything to do with this, because what happened is Alexander Dugin, who is Putin's Rasputin, we've talked about him many times on this show for years now. He is very instrumental in Putin's big interest in the Ukraine and the strategy behind this whole thing. So they were giving a speech. It was in Moscow, actually, and they were driving back from this speech or lecture that Dugin was giving. And Dugin decided at the last minute to go into a different car. And his daughter was in another car, and the car blew up with the daughter. So they say, I mean, we don't even know if it's true at this point. Is it a false flag? There's so much craziness going on at the moment in that whole situation about people being real and not real and whatever. So it's really hard to even feel some kind of, it would be terrible and tragic if that happened to anybody, but so that will be interesting to see what, in fact, we do know. What is the retaliation that Russia is going to have for Ukraine?
Mm-hmm. So that's why
this is just after that. It was reported that the Russian soldiers were trading supplies with Ukrainians for vodka.
Yeah.
Wow. I missed that one.
Yes.
Okay.
Whoa.
Well, I think we'll be certainly hearing more about this story on next week's edition of State of Things, Aisha and Jill.
It's terrible when families, the war is a tragic thing, and I just can't condone any war. I just think of all the lives lost, that it's just senseless and needless. And I can't believe it's 2022 and men, the patriarchy, have not figured out how to resolve things without this conflict. I really think it's disgusting. It's really horrible to say that we've gotten this far, and men in the patriarchy, look at what they've done to the world. They've ruined it. Every little bit of it.
On that note, we are done. Another episode of State of Things with Aisha and Jill, with our friend from the before Jill cuts off the state from Florida, before Jill comes with her saw to just, and also I gotta fit one of
that was Aisha wanted to cut it off. I was just along for the ride.
Just a lifeboat or something.
And I've got to remember who else is in Florida of our family.
Rena.
Yes. So we'll make sure before the cut happens, we rescue them. But thanks again to our wonderful, wonderful, wonderful panel of smart ladies. So before we let them go, for them to cool off or eat or whatever they like to do, let's have them say how they can be in touch. So first up, Laura.
You can find me everywhere: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all under Realty Goddess.
All right, there we go. Next up, the Jones.
Yes, the Jones. Yes. I'm at Jill D. Jones and Jill Jones Music. So you can find me. And Lala, your page is so upbeat and positive. I might have to take a few notes from that.
Okay. And then Aisha K.
Aisha Staggers on Twitter.
Short and sweet to the point. Myself, if you want to put the wrong thing up here. Well, I can't find. Well, you can find me somewhere. There we go. There we go. The Dr. Vibe Show. On the website, the drvibeshow.com. Email Dr. Dr. VIBE at thedrvibeshow.com. YouTube and Facebook, The Dr. Vibe Show. Twitter at The Dr. Vibe Show, which is the DRVIBESHOW. And on the Instagram, The DRVIBESHOW and DR.VIBE on TikTok. As always, I'd like to thank everyone who took time from their schedule to watch us live or on the replay. We'll be back next week, 9 p.m. And actually, it's going to be the last Sunday in August. Wow, it's gone by fast. It has gone by real fast. But as always, this is how we like to close off. Live your life as a dream. If you can dream it, you can make it. Sometimes you have to get small to get stronger. Block assumptions and aim bigger, aim better, aim higher, aim wider. Love, faith, and respect. Remember to give yourselves grace and don't just manage your time, manage your energy. We'll see you next week. During the week, stay safe and keep the faith.